Hi everyone. We just added RMAs to Wholesale, so I want to give you a quick demo of how they work and how you can create one if you ever get devices back from the customer you sell them to. This is the RMAs screen. We haven't created any RMAs yet for the new AI account, so we're going to create one right now. For fun, I made an order to Blockbuster, so we are going to look them up here and create an RMA. Say we sent them some devices and they want to send a few back. So we're going to create an RMA for them. So we saved this RMA for Blockbuster. There aren't any devices on it yet, so we're going to add a few. They gave me a couple ESNs. I'm going to add them one by one. They said that they wanted to return this. They probably sent it in an email or a spreadsheet of some kind, and we got the reasons that they wanted to return the devices and the ESNs with that. So we can add these devices by ESN. This one is an iPhone SE that's space gray. It's Find My iPhone Locked, and they said that it was Find My iPhone Locked, but they said it also had cracked glass. So they wanted to return it because it has cracked glass, and it's not very valuable to them in that condition. So we're going to save that, and now that iPhone SE is on our RMA with cracked glass being the reason they're sending it back, we're going to add another one of those. Let's see, this guy in there. Oops, can't find that inventory with that ESN, so I have that in there incorrectly. Maybe I had a space in there. Yeah, get rid of my spaces. Got it. Okay, so they're sending back this iPhone 7 Plus, 128 gigs. We sold it as functional, and it's coming back because it's got bad Touch ID. So we didn't check the home button for good Touch ID when we checked it into our system. So they're sending that one back. And let's add a third one. This last one, 993. Make sure there are no spaces. And this is a 732 gig black. They're sending this one back because it's got a bad LCD. Maybe there are some lines in the LCD or some other blemishes or something like that. So we've got our RMA for Blockbuster. We've created it in our system, and we can go ahead and download this PDF as a confirmation and send this over to them. And this includes the devices that they're sending back, so they want to print this out and send the devices back to us. When we get them, we're going to open the box and see the RMA PDF that they printed out, and we're going to open up this RMA that we've created for them. And we're going to go through the phones and check them back into our inventory system and see if the reasons that Blockbuster told us these phones needed to be sent back are actually true. So we'll start with this iPhone 7 32 gig with a bad LCD. We'll go over to receive, and this is very similar to our check-in process, and you're going to see most of the same things, but you'll see these details about the phone that we sold them and why they're sending it back. So we sold them this iPhone 7 32 gig as functional, C grade, and they're sending it back because it has a bad LCD. So we go through the phone. It's still the same device. We still think it's C grade, but they were correct that it had a bad LCD. So we're going to go into our functional section and put broken LCD, which is our damaged category for something with a bad LCD. And we're going to just set that phone to available down here in details because we want to resell it. It's got a broken LCD now, and we'll just resell it like that. We're going to refund them the full amount, $350, because they were correct, and we're going to mark that phone as received. We can print out the label to apply to that phone and put it back into our inventory. And then we're going to go back to the RMA to do the next two. So we'll receive the 7 Plus that they said had bad Touch ID, but maybe it didn't have bad Touch ID, and we decide to actually put it back into our inventory as good and clear, just like we had sold it. Maybe they got confused, or they couldn't figure out how to work Touch ID and they thought it was broken, but we test it as we're receiving it, and we find out that it's good. So we could choose to put in broken fingerprint reader here if it did have a bad Touch ID, but we're not going to do that because in our experience checking it back in, once we've received it back from them, it doesn't. So we're going to set the same thing, status to available here, and we're going to refund them the full amount that they paid for it. So we'll mark this one as received. We could go print the label again, but in this case we'll hop right back to the RMA, and we're going to receive this last phone, the iPhone SE that had cracked glass. We sold it to them for 25 bucks. They weren't happy with it, and so we are going to go in here and take a look at it. We check out the phone, and they said it had cracked glass. we consider whatever it has as only being C grade. So we're just going to change it to C grade instead of adding cracked glass to it. This is another phone we think that they got wrong compared to our way of grading things. But they thought it had cracked glass, so that's their concern. So we're going to do the same thing that we've done on the others. We're going to keep the refund amount as the total value of the phone and mark this one as received. And we can go back to the RMA. So we've received these 3 phones after Blockbuster sent them to us. We've taken care of what the refund amount should be, and now we can go in and resolve the RMA and apply credits to the customer's account. If we want to, we could do either a refund or credit. So with a refund, say they paid via PayPal and we want to refund them back via PayPal, so we can just put PayPal in here and write in a transaction ID. We could choose to do that, and that will just tie this RMA to that transaction that we've done externally in PayPal. But for the sake of showing you credits, we're going to apply a credit to Blockbuster's account. So we're giving them a credit of $875, the total amount for this RMA, and we're going to hit save. So now the RMA is updated, and we can see this note on here that I resolved this RMA on March 22nd. And when we go over to Blockbuster's profile page, we can see that they had this one order from us, and now because of this credit in their credit history that we just created, they have a balance of $875. So when we go to create a new order for Blockbuster in the future, we're going to be able to apply that $875 credit when we create an invoice for them, and we'll be able to credit that off their future invoice with us. If we want to, instead, we could say, maybe they asked for the credit back early, and so we could come in here and put a ledger entry that is us giving them back the credit via PayPal. If it was earlier, then say they didn't want to use the credit and they didn't want to buy stuff from us, so we just gave it back to them that way. We can add a ledger entry to explain that, but as it sits right now, we have an $875 balance with them. So that's RMAs. You can create RMAs and keep track of all the phones that are being sent back to you, all the devices. We hope you really like it, and we'll talk to you in the next one.